So,
We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue Pods number 78. How are you, Overlord?
I'm doing fine. I had just after Christmas had some ni- had some nice had some nice presents and stuff, and
This
oh,
is good. Merry Christmas, everyone. This is actually the last stream we do in 2023 for the RedBlue one. Tomorrow we got the window, but today we got the last RedBlue one. So that was a unique year. How are you, Gray?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's post Christmas. My channel got deleted and got given back to me. So good times, Everything's good. Everything is whole again. Yeah. How about you, sir? How you doing, Multi?
I'm
How was
doing
your
great.
Christmas?
It was great. I'm seeing family as usual, and it's fun. Just seeing family. It's very important. This is what matters the most. Uh, so I'm doing good.
Oh yeah.
Merry Christmas. What about you, Cole? How are you today?
He's feeling a little quiet today.
Yeah, this is maybe mic issue or yeah. Um, so with that being said, I suggest we start with Afterlife. If Cole microphone works, I hope it does. I hope it does. Um,
I'm trusting him. He'll get it to work.
yeah. Um, Overlord, what did you
yeah.
think of Afterlife?
I'd say it was a neat passing the torch story, and it's about seeing, the descendant of one taking the mantle of the one who sadly couldn't who be there in the flesh.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Uh,
Um, anything else you'd like to add?
mm, also, I also liked some remind me. Also liked a few of the old few of the old humor, but kind of mini the mini marshmallows, kind of funny. So the mini marshmallows, it was like, oh, we had the big one before. Oh, we had like the tiny little ones. Kind of fun.
Yeah. What did you think of the new main character, which is basically Phoebe? What did you think of her?
The granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting story of following her, following her roots and following her ancestry, and finding out about her grandfather that her mother didn't want to talk about and stuff. About her grandfather's legacy. Honestly, it's good. You have some stories that actually that are less about throwing away the old legacy and trying to replace it, and having someone actually follow the legacy. It's many stories. Which I'm not gonna name.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. What about you, Gray? What did you think of Afterlife?
Yeah. Well, I agree with Overlord a lot on this. Like it was a good version of like the passing of the torch. So I really liked Afterlife, and maybe that is because, we had just gotten Ghostbusters 2016, and there's been a whole bunch of these other like soft reboots or I don't know, reimaginings, if you will, and they've all been done so poorly, and they just seem to like, try and alienate the previous audience at the expense of like in order to try and get a new audience. This, while there's still problems with it, it's not great. There's still a lot of reverence that they have for that original story and the audience. Like Overlord was mentioning with like the mini Stay Puft guys, they're throwing in a lot of Easter eggs or like shout outs to the old fans, but they're not doing it in a way that just, completely negates it. Like, I look at this a lot kind of like the Force Awakens. There's a lot of beats that are kind of similar to the first thing, and it is, kind of relaunching it. But you can see how that goes so horribly with like Ghostbusters 2016, for instance, versus this one. They're not trying to just make it in a different world where none of this ever happened. I do like that they kind of, go back to what you don't know about like the ghosts of Manhattan, and then they're able to bring in some of the footage. There is a certain reverence that they have for that original IP, which is great. And then the cameos in this as well. They're not the greatest, and maybe you don't want to see like some 70-year-old Ghostbusters, but I don't know. The way that they did it in this just seems so much better than like, say a line that everyone knows from the movie. Like, you're a cabbie, say, I ain't afraid of no ghosts or whatever. I don't know. It just what's done here, even if perhaps at the expense of Egon, of the amazing actor and director Harold Ramis, he couldn't actually be here, so they are using a CG version of his face, and it looks like
a ghost.
I think Bob Gunton was the guy who was the Egon Spengler stand-in, but like they definitely had a person that they CG painted over the face to make that happen, and there's certain parts of that work really well. I don't necessarily hate it. I'm not sure what a ghost adds to a proton pack. Like, the granddaughter is shooting it, and then all of a sudden Egon's there to stabilize. Like, I don't know. Does that add something, or is it just sentimental?
Well, it's emotional closure. It's emotional closure to find.
I get you.
Callback. There's a nice callback to the "Are you a god?" question. After what happened
and they do that well. We're like in 2016 they tried to do a bunch of callbacks, but they were just all through like again, like Dan Aykroyd as the cabbie saying like, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. It's like that doesn't work. Where like this did work. It is that same character asking again, are you a god? He's been here before. He knows
what happened last
how he screwed up the first time. Yeah. And he even takes that moment where like he pauses because he's like, wait, I've screwed it. I don't know. I really enjoy it. I feel like it was done in the correct spirit. There's still going to be a ton of issues. Like if Egon was able to set up like this whole trap at the end, like with this pyramid and everything, how is he not able to, why is he just sitting in a chair and allowing it to like come and get him? It seems like he would have more protection.
Because initially the trap didn't, because the trap failed due to a energy problem, and by that point
I would just think that he would be more resourceful than it showed him in the very beginning, where you learn like what he has done later. So I don't know. There's a little inconsistencies, but that being said, it's a really entertaining movie. I think they did a really good job with it. So I don't think this will go down in history books like the 2016 version has. And it actually, kind of, there's certain characters, like I really hate that they have a character named Podcast. Like, even if you want to keep the kid the same, like, just don't call him Podcast. Nobody's going to call anyone Podcast. I don't know. Perhaps I'm wrong, but it's little things like that bug me. But overall, good job. Like, I really enjoy this. What were your thoughts on it, Multi?
I thought that was amazing. I had a blast. I will say that as a movie, it's weaker than the first one, but I was much more entertained. I liked it a lot more than the first one. So even if it's a inferior movie, I do think the entertainment, the flashy stuff, and the characters, especially Phoebe, I'm a huge fan of Phoebe. She was a very relatable character. She was well written, and she is the most memorable character in the franchise. I forgot all the other Ghostbusters. I will be honest. There's not a single character I can tell their names, and they did their job. I mean, the first movie, me, like I enjoyed it, maybe as much as most people, but the characters were not really the strength. I'm not saying the characters were bad. I'm just saying that it was more the plot and like the tone and the writing that was on point. The characters were, I won't say forgettable because they weren't likable and stuff, but they're not as memorable as Phoebe, I think. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So my first issue would be, in the opening scene, the lightning was terrible. I was like, what is going on? I cannot see crap.
Part
League
of that
Legends.
could be limitations to like trying to get Harold Ramis back in there. You know, like the dimmer you get it, the better the CGI may look or more convincing. So I'm not sure, but you're right. That was kind of dim.
Yeah. My next issue would be plot convenience. The kids bumping into each other in the field. So I will be honest. I've seen back to back pretty much everything, so I can't exactly remember what I refer to. But at some point, I was like, "Oh, plot convenience." The story beat is not really on point for me.
Well, at least the town is small, so at least it's not a big. I mean, it's one thing to bump into when there's like in New York City, that's a bit. But in a small, but in some small, more rural backwater place, it's more likely that everyone would bump into everyone at one point. I'm not even sure how many class. For all we know, there's like only like two class. There's only like 2 or 3 classrooms in the whole school, so.
Fair enough. A small town would kind of make that more likely that you'd run into the same person.
I grew up in a small village. I grew up at well, it's pretty spread up, but there's one school who classes. You stumble upon at some point. You just stumble upon everyone.
But the timing
Yeah,
makes it
the
plot
timing is
convenience.
still, kind of magical, but fair enough. The cornfield itself was kind of magical and kind of convenient. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's in front of the
And it's
house.
probably
Like when
haunted.
Egon flips
Look,
the
it's a
truck,
place
and
full
then
of ghosts.
yeah, but I mean, like
probably
sometimes it's there, and then it shows like the shot of the house, and there's no cornfield around it at all. And then like later on, when they find the truck or the Ecto One, they're again driving it through a cornfield. So I see what Multi's talking about. Like that, it is kind of a convenient cornfield, and then magically they run into the other person there as well.
Yeah, like meeting others, that's one thing. But when I mention a plot convenience, most of the time it needs many things to happen. First, the place. Second, the time, and third, the characters. So the moment like you meet all these 3 things at once, you get plot convenience. So that's why I strongly believe there was one there. Next, plot convenience, bumping into the marshmallow creatures. That was somewhere in the middle.
the store.
Are you sure it's not like at the end where like they're magically in the pack already, where like these things can't
Maybe.
remain quiet, but then magically they've been quiet in the pack for a while?
You're
I don't know,
right.
like that seems a little plot
maybe that's
convenient,
the
but
fact.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Gozer can actually make. I don't know. With Gozer around, maybe just with beat. Maybe better control over when they make sound. When you have a god.
fair enough. If you have gods and ghosts into it, like you can kind of explain almost anything away that way. Fair enough.
So this is it for my issues. I don't have any other issues. That's why I think it's an inferior movie than the others, but I liked it more. I enjoyed it more. It's like
It's definitely more modern, and it has more modern pacing. So I could definitely see that. Like, you do seem to like things going a little bit faster. I've noticed your kind of criticism as some scenes drag on. This definitely doesn't have that going on. It's more modern pacing.
It's
so
boom,
I can see
boom,
that.
boom, boom, boom. I have ADHD, so like when there's a lot of going on, I'm still.
I wasn't
elated.
blaming that.
Like
It's just you've got modern sensibilities,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why I'm not the biggest fan of Godfather. Aye, D-Lord. Welcome to
You're
the
gonna
stream.
still continue taking L's on Godfather.
Never.
Yes.
Welcome to the stream, and
It's a classic, man. But yeah, Merry Christmas. Welcome to you, man.
So you have seen Afterlife, did you?
Yes, I have. For 1 week, you finally picked stuff I actually watch, but is actually
Well, hell yeah. What were your thoughts on Ghostbusters Afterlife, sir?
it's actually pretty good. It was more the proper sequel that should have been the other. I mean, that's kind of how I think about it, but
you don't think it suffered from a lack of Melissa McCarthy?
Well, just like you know.
I don't think anybody missed her, to be honest. Like,
look, Melissa McCarthy is over. Well, they wanted to recapture something that isn't possibly really like needed. They were going. Oh, the excuse of Ghostbusters 2016 is the fact. I think they were going for the field of extreme Ghostbusters, and then they didn't understand. Because the thing about that was that film was kind of cursed while it was in production. Because when you have the original people from the original cast basically wanted nothing to do with it, what does that tell you? Bill Murray.
Tells a lot. It tells a lot.
They wanted nothing to do with that film. Like, it was when an actor distances themselves from a project like that, either they're highly dissatisfied. But I do got to admit, though, Chris Hemsworth as the male secretary was only a good part of 2016.
Yeah, but they just kept going back to that well and back to that well. Like, I admit, I laughed a couple times, but on the like 10th time, they're going back to like, yes, he's a himbo. I don't know, man. It just, you know, he can't answer the phone. They're literally just keeping him around for eye candy. I don't know. I'd have to think if that were the other way around, people would think that's just like horrible. But somehow it's cool.
I would
like,
agree.
I don't
That's
know.
a man. That's a man. We can mistreat men, but yeah.
Look,
we can
okay,
mistreat
can we
them.
say the this is where you're going to get into the argument and female inspired entertainment.
Yeah, but we're talking about afterlife, you know.
Okay, you got to understand, Overlord. There's this argument overarching.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but you know,
it's a double. It's a double.
It's better with afterlife, having you know, the granddaughter and stuff.
There's a discussion to have about when you're designing a thing for what the targeted demo is. If you are designing 50 Shades of Grey, the man better be like a romance novel.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
It's not gonna. It won't work. It's gonna have to. The guy's gonna have. If there's a reason why Fabio was that, but there's also a separate topic if you ever want to get into it on the culture part. It's about the marketing.
Yeah.
See, love or hate Barbie. Barbie had brilliant marketing.
Yeah. And I think that was the average movie. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as what people make criticize about the movie.
I disagree with the messaging in Barbie, but
me too.
It goes back to Afterlife. Afterlife was marketed towards Ghostbuster fans, just as Frozen Kingdom is.
Which we will be covering. I think it's March, the date it comes out, or February. I don't know.
I think so. It's the start of the year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Frozen Kingdom. There's actually a couple. What's funny is I was looking at it, but I don't know. That one's gonna be interesting because it's just gonna be weird, but.
I gotta say something here. What makes Afterlife so good? It's actually funny. And they don't try as hard as 2016, but they do land everything. And I will add more to this. Like Phoebe, bad jokes are like ironically like really funny. Even if there are bad jokes, you're like, okay, I get why it was placed there. Like,
and that could be because it's a different style of filmmaking. Like what Paul Feig does is kind of more improv, and he kind of lets the actors play. If you look at like 2016 compared to like a lot of the jokes from the first one, they're practically the same joke, but it just goes on so long because it's not like, you know, precise dialogue that somebody actually wrote. Like a lot of it's meandering, and it is them improving their way to that joke. This isn't that. This is a different style. It is more precise, and I think that's kind of what this needs. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think the improv helped anything.
I thought that was another highlight of this movie because we were right after 2016, and I was like, how this humor will end, how will this humor work? And it was wonderful. I think one of the biggest strengths this movie had was how funny it was, and they were not trying as hard as 2016. I know they wanted it to be funny, but it wasn't like non-stop punchline after punchline. It was like they calculated these jokes and the impact they would have, and that was wow. I liked it. Um, so yeah, the characters were very entertaining. Again, my favorite movie in the series, but I know it's not the best one. The first one will remain the best. So I think I talked enough. I will let Cole talk on that one. What did you think of Afterlife? Cole, you're muted if you speak right now.
He's a man of few words, but
I
they
think
have
yes.
impact.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I blame this on you.
You blame it on me. What did I do again?
Yes. You asked how my day is doing, and then my power goes out.
Anyhow, you're back. So what did you think of Afterlife? Cool.
Wasn't really a good film to me, nor was it a bad film. It was just okay to me, but that's a huge improvement over 2016, so I'll take it. Yeah, this was by the same director, I guess, who did a couple of other films and Stranger Things, so definitely has a similar style and characters to it, and with them banking on that popularity with the film, which kind of worked. Most of the characters were pretty good. There were a few forgettable ones, but not too many. The effects and action scenes I thought were pretty good, and the nostalgia stuff they did kind of worked on me, and they did something a bit similar to, I would guess. I mean, I haven't seen it in ages, but kind of like a Back to the Future kind of similar feel with like what they attempted with it, I guess. Uh, wasn't a big fan of the cameos, though. I mean, it felt pretty lackluster. It just felt like they got those actors while they were in a miserable mood and on their lunch break.
Okay.
Uh,
But compared to the same actors doing the same cameos in 2016, or I guess not the same cameos, but doing cameos in 2016, I don't know, man. Like, I enjoyed these
of
a lot
course, it's
more,
an
even if they
improvement if you
looked like they
compare it
didn't
to
want to be
that.
there. I'm just saying, like, you know, Dan Aykroyd in the cab being like, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Like, that was horrible. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it anyway. I liked this version better, but still, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Did they need to be there?
Well, I mean, the story and writing I thought was all right, and I did like certain cinematography and editing moments in it. Now, the rest of the film after that is just kind of meh, but overall, it was nothing special and kind of safe, but it was fairly solid still. It's definitely better than nothing, I suppose, and from the 2016 crap, so.
Yeah, fair
Okay.
point.
I'm gonna give you this challenge. Like, can you come up with one that's a better kind of reboot, like whatever you want to call it, like reimagining, reboot? I'm coming up with like Star Wars. They tried it with Indiana Jones twice, didn't quite work. Like all
They
of these
felt
don't.
twice.
Yeah, I don't know. This one seems successful. Like you're right, it's not a great movie or anything like that, but like it feels successful. I'm hard pressed to come up with one that's as successful as this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. I can fully see it. What about you, Cole? Do you see that being as being one of the best remake or reboot or reimagining of
I
something?
mean, of course, but that's because, when they do this most of the time, it's with properties that should really be left alone, like, Exorcist and other things this year, but there are definitely ones where they try to do these like spiritual successors or kind of sequel things that do work out. But just when it comes to IPs like this, though, that should be left alone. I guess this is one of the better ones. Not saying too much though.
Yeah, I agree. It's not saying that much. Um, So, except if one of you would like to add more, I guess it's the right moment to give away our grade out of 10 for this movie. I guess nobody has something to say. So, Cole, what would be your grade? Overlord, what
Yeah.
do you want to add?
You were saying things about success. I'd say about doing succeeding and stuff. I'd say Afterlife is really like one of the best we had in recent years. I've seen many, and they just fall. In recent many in this era have just fallen short. Just
Yeah.
and like, it just seems like just say we're looking we're looking at a sea of failure, and we see like you see a single success floating on a sea of failures. I mean, less said about Terminator, the better.
Yeah, Terminator wasn't all that great.
Dark Fate. Yeah, we don't talk. Well, that's not the subject at hand.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
I refuse to see the full movie. I'd rather I'd sooner jump in molten metal than watch this.
Fair point.
So, and my grade, I'd say a good solid. I'd say a good solid 8 out of 10. Good.
Very nice. So I won't sound that all crazy. Cool. What would be your grade out of 10 for this movie?
Give it a 6 out of 10.
What about you, D-Lord? D-Lord? Are you there, D-Lord? Is the dragon here?
The dragon might be fighting a battle currently. I think I kind of go in between you guys. So I think we had 6 and 8.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it like a 7, maybe 7.5. I enjoyed it, and as far as like the remakes, reboots go, like I think it is top tier, but yeah, it's not a perfect movie. There's a lot of things in the plot that could have been made a little bit better, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. I'm very happy to watch this anytime as opposed to 2016. I don't think I'll ever watch that one again.
Yeah. And just before I give away my grade, I just thought again about that movie, and I have that kind of side note in my mind somewhere. This movie reflects very well how the modern family is depicted, because there's no father around. It's always a mother. And I was just finding that very interesting. It's not an issue, as I said, it's just a side note that a lot of modern movie, when they depict family, it's always like only one of the two parents. And that's kind of sad. But that's just me talking with some traditional values sometimes. Anyhow, entertainment-wise, for me, that was a 10 out of 10. But I'm a critique, and I had issues with this movie. So this movie is a 9 out of 10 for me. I still think it's a really strong movie, despite the issues. And as I said, entertainment-wise, it was through the roof for me, but I kind of know it's not a perfect movie. So the final verdict for me, 9 out of 10. And D-Lord, are you back with your grade? D-Lord? Tiamat?
Well, subbing in for Tiamat, we do have the IMDb rating. So, yeah, for out of 206,000, they give it 7.1. So, kind of in the middle of all of us, I guess.
Yeah. Like, very similar to yours. Oh, D-Lord, he's back.
We've got the
Dragon's
D-Lord.
back. So what would be your grade out of 10 for Afterlife?
Actually, I liked it. It's one of those films that was like, I would say like 20. I would probably say it's definitely like an 8 out of 10 for me.
Oh, so I'm not that crazy. Yes, I got the IS score.
It's not
but
like
I'm not that
you're still
crazy.
going to continue taking the L on Godfather, though.
Hey, I said it. It's a good movie that I didn't like.
Sorry.
I have every right to dislike something that's good,
Yeah,
and I still gave it a good score.
It's
Remember?
fine. It's fine to do that. You know, you admit it's a amazingly made film. You just weren't into it. The biggest issue, though, is then you saying that the third was the best.
Hell yeah!
Oh,
I
that's
stand by
No,
it.
that is like the
No.
worst take in the history of cinema. I'm sorry.
no.
I stand by it.
You
I will
shouldn't.
die on the hill.
You should take a step back and reevaluate.
And he probably said Ghostbusters 2016 was good because of Melissa McCarthy,
No,
who
bro,
doesn't
no.
screw up every single film. Like,
No.
Hey,
okay,
I am a McCarthy fan.
Okay,
Okay, she was real good in whatever that one show
what was it? Not Miss
She was good in
Congeniality.
like 1 or 2 films.
No, the show. I can't even think of the show now. Yeah. Anyway, I have laughed many a time at
Okay,
her.
she had a period. Here's the thing. It's like we may need to make him suffer and watch.
God damn it, Gilmore Girls. I couldn't think of that. I liked her in Gilmore
we
Girls
need to
way
see,
back in the day.
You know, I want to see his opinion of Wonka, but
Oh my!
We will watch that.
You may
Yeah, I'm a
actually
little afraid
like
to see that.
as well.
you. I've heard it's
Again, we got a
very good.
prequel relaunch thing, like
Oh.
No,
reboot relaunch
I'm not going to
thing.
say it.
Okay.
I've heard it's very, very good, and it is definitely on my to watch list this week. Because
That's pure imagination.
You got to understand, right? Like Melissa McCarthy was kind of like the guy who's playing Wonka right now. He's kind of the
Salome?
Yes, the
Wait,
French guy.
how was she like Chalamet?
Oh wait, are we talking about the next movie?
Not
Wonka,
yet.
the-
We are like on like intermission, like in
Okay. I
between.
wanted to be because once that'd be the part where I check out because I haven't seen
Yeah.
the movie. So.
No, but I was gonna say, like, he is currently the current it actor for roles, and then
Are you? Yeah.
and because remember he's in all the Dune parts currently.
Yeah.
Well, you know why he is, right? You know, because it's not just because he's a good actor. There are better actors. It's just because he's an actor, though, that kind of like fits any role, no matter what you kind of give him. And it's kind of like the ideal look that they're looking for today. And he also does not only.
So you're saying he's the Paul Rudd of his generation.
I don't know if I would say that because that's a separate discussion because it's kind of like Majors was a thing for.
Well, and he deserved to be a thing because he was amazing. But then some woman decided to chase after him Terminator style. So
he's also in New York.
Anyhow, as Overlord was saying, the only thing he has seen was Afterlife. So, well, thank you very much, Overlord, for sharing with us. Is there anything else you'd like to add before leaving?
I don't think so.
Okay, well.
So,
thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for giving your opinion on Afterlife.
Have a nice evening.
You too. Take care.
Nice to
Take
meet
care,
you,
Lord.
by the way.
You too.
Have a good one. So, I guess I will ask before we move on with next topic. D-Lord, what else have you seen?
I don't have technically seen Strange when you actually pick stuff I actually have seen. Not that
you have
suffer.
seen something else. What else? What else?
You actually pick stuff, right, that I do see. Hold on, you really
So does that mean all of it?
All of it? It's exciting. If he really has seen all of it, that's an amazing.
Well, I don't think he's seen the film in theaters.
I don't watch Black
Well, Black Mirror this week we will actually skip it again. I just didn't have time because yesterday I went to see my family, Christmas.
Why?
Anyhow, that's the only topic we won't cover.
I think the only one I haven't seen is The Boy and the Heron, but I already know about it. It's up there. That film is an interesting one. It's on my watch list, but I've been busy.
Yeah, I'm
But
a
that-
jerk. I was supposed to see it at 9:40 today. It was the only showing that would have made it before the podcast.
See,
and I decided to sleep.
See, the thing
so
about
I'm
it
sorry.
is that's the only one I haven't seen, but I know why it's popular, but people don't know probably why that one's popular. That's
Yeah.
because it's Greg can help me out with this one.
Well, I
if he
mean,
doesn't
I think
know.
everybody knows why
Miyazaki?
it's Ghibli, it's Miyazaki. You know,
It's
I
like
think
Ghibli.
everybody
It's like the
knows, you know.
old Ghibli anime movies. That's why it was a hit. But
Yeah.
that's the only one I haven't seen. But
So you have
Well,
seen the rest. You have
Unlike
seen Dark
Disney,
Matter.
they've kept up their quality.
So D-Lord, you have seen Dark Matter and Ash versus Evil Dead as well?
yes, I watched it in its original runs.
Hell yeah. This will be entertaining and interesting at the same
you
time.
You don't ever think I've watched. See, I don't know about Gray. Gray probably has, right? You've at least watched Ash versus Evil Dead.
I've seen that one, not Dark Matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Dark Matter's a weird one. See, Dark Matter was like Serenity was.
But better. I thought the TV show is better than
Oh, well, you thought
Serenity.
it was
Firefly.
Yeah, better than Firefly.
What?
Sadly,
Are you
I
serious?
haven't seen Halloween.
Cole,
Ends.
this is
I need
weird,
to.
right? He hasn't seen Killjoys. There are good shows that sci-fi puts out. Killjoys, Dark Matter is up there for me. The Expanse is just something they
know.
could never finish.
Finding the needles in the haystack, though, like sci-fi is really hit or miss,
Yes,
and way more.
and that's
miss
why they
than-
won't end The Expanse, because it's like one of their few hits. You know, they make a hit every once in a while, but it's rare, kind of. But I mean, is Killjoy
Expanse,
like comic
Expanse
book
went-
adaptation though?
Expanse, though, is a different matter because The Expanse was based on a series of novels that is kind of space opera or space saga.
Speaking
That-
of The Expanse, maybe we could cover that eventually. What's that exactly? I've heard a lot about it, but I still don't know what it is.
Think
exactly.
of
Sci-fi show on sci-fi.
think of
It won't
think of kind of Dune mixed with Game of Thrones, but
That
You're
looks
gonna
fun.
make him not want to watch it now. Come on, you hated
Yeah.
Dune, right?
I didn't hate it. I thought that was average and
The
overrated.
pacing on there, that has to be too slow for you, right? Because like they're doing very visual.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would
Yeah.
think that you would have called Dune slow, but
I'm
just
it was
guessing.
slow. I thought the movie was average. I didn't hated it, but the novel I tried to get into. The novel I didn't like. Like I tried the best I could.
so
I just
it
couldn't
has
latch
the
on, but-
political nature of Game of Thrones in a way, but the show itself, it's been a little while since I've seen it, since they moved it off to another network, but it got moved off. But it's based on a longer series of novels
Yeah.
but to my knowledge, they aren't to the other novels yet. They're only to like the first couple.
Yeah.
But
So-
The Expanse is worth covering, though. It's kind of up there as it has the Game of Thrones style politics with a little bit of Dune, but it is very mixed. Because
Speaking of Dune meets, Game of Thrones. Do we want to go into Fast and Furious now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think like which ones are
Fast 5.
fastest, but like The Expanse, I think we should do it. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Try not to prime us too much for it.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, we will. So, Cole, maybe I was thinking of The Expanse after The Walking Dead. So, after The Walking Dead, we could start covering The Expanse. So,
okay.
Lucifer, Walking Dead, Expanse. That's all we will like cover in order.
The Expanse is pretty short, though, to
Okay,
my
well,
knowledge.
you'll have to remind me.
Yeah, I will remind you. I'll mark it down in our chat. Anyhow, Fast 5. I will let whoever wants to go first. I will be right back.
Okay. I mean, if you want, basically Fast 5 and Fast 6, my opinions on it are the exact same, basically, besides one small thing different from Fast 5. So I'm just gonna I guess go first, and then you can also just skip me for the Fast 6 discussion then. But yeah, basically, I think both finally got it right, and I think they found a good balance between the groundness, over the topness, and so on. With this franchise, I think these are easily the two best ones. I'm really the only two that I enjoy a lot. Fast 6 isn't as good as 5, but it also gets those things right and was all right to me. Probably the second best Fast and Furious film, obviously, and only other one I would call passable. Now, the characters are actually done fairly well, I thought, in these, and the jokes were pretty funny. The set pieces were solid. They did a proper mix between being a bit feel-good cheesy, but not too much, and being serious and emotional enough at the same time. I thought they really embraced themselves in these two films, and it didn't make you need to turn your brain off either still. And they also, were filmed fairly well by Justin Lin. The only big issue that I really have with any of them, outside of the usual issues in every Fast and Furious film, such as the acting that, lowers all of them for me, is one fight scene with Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel in Fast 5. I thought that was so poorly done with zero choreography, and that's a trend we'll probably continue to see in the newer films. Which
You
is
know that
my
they were actually on set with each other. Apparently, they have issues where they're often not actually filming with each other. So perhaps it looks so bad because it wasn't really them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know they had their issues, so yeah, that's probably why, honestly. But so I mean, it was their first film together, though, wasn't it? So I thought it, could at least at the time do, but whatever. But yeah, there's definitely stuff later on that will just, especially something that will make Multi burst out laughing when he sees it, and give him flashbacks to some awful CW shows. But yeah, anyway, pretty much my overall thoughts on it. I thought 5 was pretty solid and is the only good one in the entire franchise, and then 6 is the only other one that I would say was at least passable. So yeah.
Well, 5 is kind of universally known as the good one, with the weirdest title, just Fast 5. Okay, yeah, it sounds weird to me.
I wouldn't say they titled them the best, because
no, way better than 4, I guess.
The Fast and the Furious, or Faster Furious.
No, it's just Fast and Furious. Yeah, they lose the thes. They were too quick for it. But yeah, this one's kind of known as the good one, and I got to be honest, the addition of The Rock is pretty spot on, and the character Hobbs that he's playing, it's pretty awesome. That is what I want out of a additional cop character in this shitty universe. I don't know, he fits in perfectly. So I don't know, I really like it. I think the only thing that could make it better is some Gina Carano, and then they throw that into the next one. So yeah, along with the longest runway ever. But I don't know, there's some over the top things, the whole magical second safe that they're also dragging down the street somehow at the end. But whatever. It's a really fun movie. It is definitely over the top, but this is when they started realizing oh yeah, people don't give a crap about street racing or underground street racing, so they go to this, and it's quite fun.
Look, the idea of the heist
a lot more poorly in the future.
It's the thing about the heist, right? It's does fast. Okay, so I lumped the two together, kinda, but Fast 5 is not as insufferable because it goes from that underground street racing where he is, but to they're doing stuff. And you have to kind of look at it as, I think the only thing in Fast 6 I hate is, Han survives.
Well, I mean, he magically, it's spoilers, sir. But yeah, they got to keep prolonging it, and that's really
because
fun,
the thing that
it was full of flip phones
was
and stuff.
Right, Tokyo Drift. Go back to the originals. Is Tokyo Drift was a side event post interview introduce Shaw's brother into killing Han, which sends him after Dawn. Dawn, basically.
Yeah, but you got to also have the whole Letty thing. You forgot about Michelle Rodriguez, man.
And I don't want to get into the whole fact about Han's girlfriend who has died and come back as well.
Wow, that's fun.
That's kind of spoilers, man.
I haven't seen like past 6. Like I actually have seen the spin-off, like Alvin Shaw, but that's many years ago. Even there, I can't remember this thing outside of. Oh yeah, it's The Rock and freaking.
They're mostly the thing to it
the
is
other one.
it's Fast 5 is a very funny, like not a bad heist film, right? Because they're on the run. But most of the Fast and Furious films run together. You know what I mean? That's at least to me. They run together.
Yeah.
Because they are supposed to
because
have
they're family.
They're family,
God.
bro. It's all about family.
Don't do that. The whole thing, it's awful. It's a film franchise that should. It became a meme like Die Hard.
We gotta cover Die Hard eventually. Eventually, one day.
I'm actually looking forward to that. There's quite a few good ones in that series.
There are good ones.
How many there is? I remember seeing maybe
too
3.
many.
I have seen 3 of them. Like I remember seeing the first 2 and the 4th one. The 3rd one I can't remember. But is there
Die
more
Hard with
than
a Vengeance? 4? It's arguably the best. But yeah,
it also has the best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah, 2 of them are quite good Christmas movies, but I don't think any
there's
holidays
only
happen
5,
in these Fast and Furious movies.
There's only 5 Die Hard movies, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there should only be 3, but yeah. So I guess we're still on Fast 5.
Yeah.
Multi, I don't think you talked about it yet. Did you?
Didn't.
What's your opinion on Fast 5?
I enjoyed it. Okay, like it's like it's not a good movie that I like. It's like, oh, it's fun. Let's watch it. There's action. There's a lot of going on. My ADHD is on check. Like there's always something going on there. But again, that's not a good movie. My first issue would be the roof of the bus is all messed up, yet nobody died.
That's well, they didn't say that. They said all the passengers have been accounted for. They don't mention any fatalities. They could all be dead.
Okay, whatever. Like the way I read it, I was like, oh yeah, that's most likely means nobody died. But you're right, maybe they all died there, but they counted bodies, I guess. People cannot aim. Why wearing a mask to then revealing who you are? It's like Big Brain 101. It's like, what's the point of the mask, guys? I don't get it. It's so stupid. Pacing, showing off lots of butt was pointless. Oh yeah, that's like the cliche moment where they all go into their car, they're getting ready, and we just see these butts walking around, and they're like, oh, look, woman. Like, bro, that's pointless. Like, eye candy, I don't give a crap about that. Like, no, skip that.
I'm sorry. He is gay. He doesn't like Michelle Rodriguez.
I don't care. I'm not gay, but anyhow, can't aim. Nobody that mattered got injured or deleted in the big firefight. Plot armor, a car blowing up in front of the guy didn't injure him. That's all we do, movie guys. Let's blow up cars and like pretend people won't.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna call out that plot armor, get ready to call out like the entirety of like the rest of the movies. But no, okay.
Get ready to call out if you're gonna call out. Look, if you're gonna call out plot armor and stupidity of shit that doesn't make sense, you are about to hate the end. Do not watch Fast and Furious.
As I said, I don't think these are good movies, but they're entertaining. Like, it's like
just remember, there's a reason why the meme happens, where when he was teasing one film, we're going to go. I think it was Robot Chicken who teased it. We're going. Fast and Furious is going to go to space.
Hell yeah! I want that. I'm looking forward. Now I will shock all of you with my weird takes, but I'd rather watch any Fast and Furious than Godfather. Even if Godfather is a better movie, I'm more entertained by Fast.
You actually
No, we
thought
can tell you like jingling keys. That's okay.
Hell yeah, flashy stuff, guys. Flashy stuff. It's the key.
dangling
Anyhow.
keys like a bird.
I like the music, the action. Like the action is like the only thing worth watching and mentioning in likes. Because let's be honest, characters are not that bad, but they're not that great either. So like just watch the flashy stuff. That's all I gotta say. When you watch like Fast and Furious, that's what matter. The action. So yeah, like the actors are also kind of cool looking, but like yeah, that's it. Dre, do you want to add more to
No, I don't have a ton. This is kind of universally known as like the good one, and it is kind of fun. I do like where they finally lose like that early 2000s whatever whole, I don't know, feel about it, and they're embracing the 2010s now. The aughts are behind us. We're going to go a little bit more serious, and we're going to go do bigger capers. This is going to be a heist film now for real. And that's kind of what they go for. I like it. I like how they're leaving behind the underground racing, except for Han, who is going to, in the future, go to Tokyo, where they have flip phones and do the whole drifting thing. I don't know. It is interesting, but I guess we get into some of that on 6. So I don't know. I do have issues with 5, but overall, it's just it's entertaining. I think it is the top of the series for me and many others. So.
Okay.
I think this is kind of the peak, and it definitely goes downhill from here.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, 6, I agree. 6 was okay. 6 was a mistake. Let's be honest. But anyhow, anyone wants to add more to 5 before we give away our score for 5? I guess not. So for me, as I said, this movie is hella entertaining, but it is not a good movie. I will still give it a 7 out of 10 because for me, 7 is average.
Wait, so hold on, but what did you rate some others in this franchise so far?
I think the highest was like 8 or 8.5 with the first one.
Okay, there is no way you're saying any of those previous ones are better than this one.
You think the first one is a much better film than this? Even with
better?
the Ba with a Ba?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like the first, I'd say this. I can't remember what I gave to the second one, but I suspect the second one was like a 7.5 or a 7. So this one is like somewhere near.
You're putting this below Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yeah, and maybe I can't remember.
You mean the side mission in Florida?
I can't remember what score I gave to the second one. That's the thing. If I gave 7.5, that's the second one I like more.
But
if
you're
they are
giving
both
those higher
7,
ratings just because they play it safer while being bad films, okay?
Yeah.
God.
But if they are both 7, I'd say 5 was better. Just because 5 was more modern.
Well, 5's easily better. I mean, it's the one that actually kind of gets like the characters and action right and everything. Like, sure, it's stupid. It has stupid moments and plot armor. You could say that with 2, 1, 3, 4. You could say with all of them.
3 and 4 are clearly worse than this, though. 3 and 4 are clearly worse. Like, I can't remember what I gave, but I'm sure I haven't given like anything near a 7 with 3 and 4. But 6 takes a nosedive badly.
I did not mention it, but the music in this one was significantly better than the previous ones. For me, it didn't feel as dated, but fair enough.
What would be your grade, Dre?
That's a tough one. I definitely could not go as high as you, but it is kind of your lower score, so that's kind of confusing me. I think like a 6 on this is the best I can give it. It's entertaining. It's not great. There's a lot of issues with it, and you do need to suspend your disbelief, but it's entertaining. Yeah, I think I'd go 6 on it.
What about you, Cole?
Yeah, I would give it a 6. I think it's fairly good, and it's the only good one in the franchise to me. And I'm so confused by your writing. It's like because this one was the one that realized how stupid 1, 2, 3, and 4 were, and decided to just embrace itself more with this
One was
stupidity
not
but enjoyment.
bad.
You give it a lower one. Oh, one
I
was
liked
bad. Don't
one.
worry.
I
It was
liked
not
one.
good though, Tiamat. It
I
was.
thought it was like no masterpiece, but it was good based on what I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
D
Well.
Lord,
Oh, sorry. Go. My bad.
D Lord, what would be your grade, D Lord?
5,
Yeah,
I at least say is because it wasn't as bad, and if you look at it as surprisingly, is actually really, really good. It's one of those few I rate higher. I actually give it like a 6 or a 7.
perfect.
It's not like color me out on certain ones. Because the first, were street racing films, maybe with stakes or something like that, which was kind of like, oh, I'm investigating. But then again, it begins to fall off the rails after a while. But this is where you aren't
Okay.
to the others.
So IMDb has 402,000 ratings on this. Where would you think it falls compared to us? Either we were all too generous or we weren't generous
I
enough.
don't know.
But
Not generous.
it
enough.
is completely to one side of all of us. That's
I'm
what you're
sure
thinking?
not generous enough. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, out of those 402,000, it gets 7.3. So it is ranked higher than us. Not that much higher than Multis, but higher than us.
Yeah.
Look,
Well,
the
0.3
film-
more than me like is
Yeah.
a lot.
I
So,
mean,
yeah,
it's about
a
on
lot.
par though. You have to remember, IMDb audiences, they think of ratings like 7 being good and 6 being like mediocre or average. Well, I mean, us at least
Isn't
not
that what
Maltese,
Multi
but-
thinks too?
Yeah,
This
yes,
n-
but
like
me and
7
you
is
though, we think
average.
6 as being good though. So
Yeah. Like for me, a 7 is average. 6 is mediocre.
I don't get that, but I mean, like I get you explained it, and it's like okay, but you know, I don't know why you would need like over half of the thing to then just be like bad, 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 but just different levels of bad. I mean, I think like just having it like 5 is average, and then 10 is a masterpiece, and 1 is garbage is like a better system. But that's just me, I guess.
Always expect more.
I'll be honest. The problem is when you're looking at ratings of films, which is more or less the other. It's kind of why I have a. Let's guess I'm not a artist like a little pervy dinosaur thinks he is, or supposedly works in Hollywood. But I think if you're like a film critic fan, you're actually a film critic or stuff like critique films, ratings of films. That's how you rate your entertainment of sorts. Think of it like a person who's a professional theater snob kind of thing.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
it does.
Yeah.
Like there's legit films that I cannot wait for you guys to cover Rebel Moon.
Are we? I'm asking.
Yes,
Cole.
next
Yes,
week
you will.
it's on the schedule.
Oh,
and
Yes,
it's
you
gonna-
will.
Nice.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Wait,
I've already
Rebel
seen
Moon
it.
and the color purple? This is going to be amazing.
Well, no, we moved the color purple back to another week. But yes, we
Yeah.
Why
we're
would you
covering
move the
Rebel
color?
Moon.
The original.
Not the original.
Not the original, the remake,
new
musical.
one, yeah. So the reason why we moved it, it's because this week I won't be able to go in theater. Like most of the thing I will watch will be like in the car or like in the bus because I will go up north.
Yeah.
I will
But,
still
mean,
have enough time
You
to
are
watch.
getting Netflix this week though, so that's fun. You'll be
But
able to watch
there's a
Bandersnatch.
thing of it. It's kind of like you look at the thing like Wonka is kind of I need to. But it is definitely a sleeper hit. It wasn't talked about, but it's good.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Because it's weird because normal audiences probably wouldn't embrace it or so. Because it's
Wait,
kind.
embrace what part of it?
No. That film has barely gotten any press, but it's actually not what it is, because it got the press that D&D film got this year. It got some really bad press, and it wasn't covered enough. Because remember D&D Honor Among Thieves? Everyone thought it was just going to be modern day wizards, and then they're going to gut the characters. Because we all know what 5th edition D&D looks like. This was before Baldur's Gate officially came out.
Yeah.
So you had the idea of, you need to emasculate the man, and then you had Chris Pine, who played the bard. Everyone, because of the whole articles of it, said the film was going to be either woke or bad. And it turned out to be a really successful film. It picked up in week 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So,
as someone that has seen it,
Wonka is something you should give your look to.
Well, no, but we will when it's out digitally. We're not seeing it in theaters.
Perfect.
But don't overload yourselves on films. But Rebel Moon is very interesting.
Okay, I heard mixed stuff. Like I
don't think you've. Well, I don't think you've really. I think that was more so before the film came out. Now,
no spoilers, Tiamat. We're going into it next week, apparently.
Yeah, or I don't know when exactly. But yeah, no spoiler. Yeah.
You mean for Rebel Moon?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to do spoilers. There is. I have theories on this film. This film.
Oh, you meant Rebel Moon? Okay. Yeah. No, I've already seen it. It's absolute garbage. But enjoy.
Oh, okay. I trust.
Oh
you.
no,
then
there's
it's no longer
stuff
mixed. It's mostly bad.
No. There's something that it's one of those films that was highly brought up. That. What was the Scorsese film that did
Flower of the Killer Moon?
Other way around. Killers of the Flower Moon.
Same thing.
That didn't get like really good press.
That damn Killer Moon.
It was like
what, Silence or something.
It was either like it didn't do really well in the weekend and it may become better later on, but we were like, because you heard a lot of stuff about, well, it wasn't also a film, but Rebel Moon's one of those things. The press leading up to it is interesting, but I want because there's going to be some stuff in there. I want to know people's thoughts here, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You'll have to join us next week.
Yeah, I won't have many thoughts other than it's garbage. Yeah.
Ruminate on it a little bit more.
No, it was a complete embarrassment, and Ray Fisher,
because I'm kind of excited for it. The only thing I heard is it was like Snyder's like treatment for a possible Star Wars, and it's like that kind of okay. So while I don't like any of his previous films that much,
his idea though,
it could be cool. It just that has potential, like okay, I really like the way that he did, like say 300. I like the look of Watchmen. There's potential, but I've really hated like all of his last few.
Let me give you a
chances.
Let me give you a.
No, I'm going in there blind, man. I'm going in there.
A thought on something. There is a thing that creative people do. If you give them oversight, certain people, creative types, need oversight.
Yeah.
Because
Snyder is one of them.
left to your own devices, you start doing weird things.
Yeah. Some need to be told no, and a lot of people just think
Some-
producers are evil, or they're just destroying ideas. But no, some are good. They need to be told no.
Someone
Sometimes.
needs to tell you when you're screwing up, because it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the classic artists that are really famous, like Salvador Dali and all of them. They were a little crazy when they were left to their own devices. And what you think, he's not quite to the certain people aren't kind of like Michael Bay. I'm going to add explosions here and there. Certain things, people just need to tell you no. Because remember, this film was created by Zack Snyder, written by Zack Snyder, and produced by him.
Yes.
With an unlimited budget.
Yeah,
Now,
and it's exactly what you would expect from Zack Snyder.
and are you familiar with the concept of when Howard Hughes...
Okay, but there's got to be some pretty visuals, right? Like Sucker Punch, I hated, but visually there's some cool stuff.
Okay, there's gonna where you're gonna explain.
Enough. We will talk.
I do keep asking questions.
I just want to say,
we gotta put a pin in it till next week, man.
Yes, I will say this. It's kind of like when Howard Hughes was doing Hell's Angels, and then he overdid it, and it was average.
Okay, I see. Anyhow, Fast 6, the masterpiece that even me cannot defend.
So this one was supposed to be 2 movies. There's like basically 2 like action pieces. They were supposed to be concepts for 2 individual ones, and they're like, yeah, these suck. So they slapped it into one. Yeah, the whole runway was supposed to be its own movie at the end. I do not like this. There's some ideas in there that are kind of cool, that they're like, kind of trying to rewrite the Han thing because they realize they painted themselves into a corner by saying that's in the future, but we're not going to get rid of this character. We need him to keep coming back. So I don't know. To me, nothing in this is as successful as Fast 5. There's a reason why it's not known as the good one, but yeah, I mean, I guess... they do introduce some other characters. There are some good things. I do like Gina Carano in it. I think both of her fights are pretty decent in this one. If I remember right, that's her that like falls down the subway stairs, and then there's another kind of cool one at the end. I don't know. I thought some of the fights were better than say The Rock and the Vin Diesel one from the previous one. There's also some just like batty, crazy shit, like Vin Diesel like flying out of the car to catch Michelle Rodriguez or whatever midair, and then flying back into a windshield. Yeah, none of it really makes sense. Cars driving through planes. I don't know. And apparently the longest runway, like in cinematic history.
Really, you're gonna discount. You care about Carano, or you don't care about Gal Gadot?
Well, that's what I was going to say. She apparently flies out in this giant runway that we don't know how long it is. We're not going to look for her, but hey, she appears back in the future, so we got that to look forward to, because nobody truly dies in this universe.
I will say, because
it's interesting.
The thing about
there's more family now.
You have to understand
about. I didn't want to really spoil that, but they pull a Gotham. I guess since Gray has already said it, they pull a Gotham, and it's hilarious. Everybody keeps coming back.
So the thing about the films, like Han was supposed to die. Like Tokyo Drift is supposed to be like a side story, and at the end, Han gets killed by the person, which sets up the next film.
Hey, but we got to revisit that in this one.
But it's kind of like, you just got to expect someone survives. I mean, but to be fair, the idea is, it is star-studded. This film is very star-studded. That's why I look at it. That's why I lumped the two together. then this is when you start seeing plot armor and everything go out the window, because it becomes that it's less about the heist, and then you're getting into they're all subtle James Bond people, which yeah, I don't. You just want to forget half of the stuff. It's like, oh, we're going to hunt down an SAS agent gone rogue. Oh, shit.
My,
Well,
amazing. This James Bond, you're right.
it's like they're James Bond. That I don't know. Was this the one with a car with was it? No.
There's
I'll
like
be
the
honest.
ramp car thing.
Which is the one with a car with the jet engines?
Not
not
one.
this one.
No.
That's a future installment, sir. I
Yeah.
have not made my way up that high yet.
Probably good reasons. Some people just forget. This is when they get the government money and they can start pimping out cars. Instead of pimping out cars for street cars,
So this is the one they've got like that ramp car in the beginning thing and the plane at the end with like the super long runway, if you remember that fun thing.
Oh no. This
Yeah.
isn't Mad Max Fury Road. Like Mad Max Fury Road, at least with the car porn, at least makes sense. You've never seen Mad Max, right?
I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Like Fury Road.
Ooh, that's a fun one. We got to go down.
Okay, so
I
guess that's during next pick when Cole will eventually add another Grace pick.
Hey, I would go Die Hard over that one, but it's another good one.
Oh, okay. Well, both are interesting franchise. One I know, the other I don't. But yeah, I thought. Oh, Cole is sharing or something right now. Okay,
Now, this was supposed to be just a joke.
Wait, what? Wow.
Cole, do you live on Cole, you live on Letterboxd, don't you? Like one of those film snobs, don't you?
It's just a lot more
Yes,
honest than
exactly.
like IMDb.
And he owns it and he assumes it. I like it. That's why you're amazing, Cole.
Yeah, pretty much. But again, Fast and Furious, just to sum up my thoughts quickly again. I guess you guys didn't like it. I did. Kind of, at least. It's definitely not a good film, but I thought it was kind of passable and I enjoyed it because yes, it's stupid. It has the stupidity and all of it, but just like the fifth film, I thought the characters, jokes, set pieces, and just everything and filmmaking was better in this one than like every other besides kind of 5. And the stupidity added to it and embraced itself, and it kind of made it enjoyable without being stupid in a bad and boring way, which 7, 9, and 10 did, in my opinion. But anyway, that's all.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I didn't add that what Cole did, and that was awesome pointing out. Yeah, it does feel like the filmmaking is on another level. Like they are actually like, that major billion-dollar franchise or whatever. I actually don't think they made billions yet. Sorry about the bird. But yeah, I agree. Like it does feel like the filmmaking is on the next level. Again, the soundtrack, like we're not just going with like early 2000s new metal. They're going for more of, just the average audience, it seems like. Yeah, I don't think it's a negative film, but it does feel like it's a step back from 5 for me. But there is a lot of good to call out. But yeah, I don't know. I just think they could do better. But I do like how in 5 and 6 they have really embraced the like tongue-in-cheek nature. They do understand what this is, and you can tell that they're in on the joke. They do start getting a little bit more. So I do know some of 7, and then that was where I tapped out. But yeah, it.
So
they do seem to go a little bit back on the tongue-in-cheekness of it.
how would I say? Somebody like I'd have to ask Cole's take, but I like I think there's certain premises when you are given creative licenses, as I said, with like Zack Snyder occasionally, like who has a very mixed filmography. Because it's hard to look at something like Rebel Moon, it's an example, and then look at 300 or other films. But you
Yeah,
can
well,
probably
he doesn't have a mixed filmography. He started out making 3 good films, just like M. Night, and then made a bunch of trash after that.
I like your opinion. Your opinions are interesting. Because, see, like, the idea is this is where Vin Diesel was given. Fast was Vin Diesel's little baby that he could just mess with. And people thought he could do no wrong through a lot of this series. Because unlike, as I said, that people have never seen it, like, and it's a very underappreciated film. Go look up Fury Road. Fury Road is a prime example because part of Fast and Furious, because of earlier 2000s, gained fame because it was a street racing film. And that was coming up. The racers and all that. Then eventually it becomes the film of it's settled car porn, so to speak. It's meant to be the thing of why did it? It's not Gran Turismo. Gone in 60 Seconds kind of film. Came out in the same era.
Yeah.
Where you got to steal cars and all that mess. And it was 5 is that weird spot. It was good. Then there's a couple of really bad ones. And then you just get into the form of the whole thing becomes ridiculous. You're not just the genre switches. And then it becomes that star-studded film that becomes too bloated. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Cole, did I hear you say Bourne experience? So I'm taking you didn't like the Bourne films?
Well, I didn't mention the Bourne films, but I mean, if you want my opinion on it,
You said it was Bourne-esque. That's from what I heard.
Yeah.
No, I said it was prior. I said it was ground. Okay, I forgot actually what I said. It's just
I thought I heard you compared it to Bourne, so I'm like, you didn't like the Bourne films.
no, I not that. I don't know like what I said might have that like sounded like it, but no. But I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Bourne films, though. I don't think they're bad, but I mean, they're just not.
Oh yeah,
great.
that's an interesting TV show too. By the way, you're talking about objectifying men. The guy that they got for that show. No, don't call that. No, but that's why I said 7 has bright moments, but it also has really stupid moments.
But right now we are in 6.
Yeah.
6, sorry.
Sorry, I mentioned 7 just that I kind of tapped out, but we're watching it next week.
It's one of those weird days
is that
for
why,
me.
Is that why you? Oh, did you mean like what I said about 7?
No, I think 6 and 7. No, sorry, I'm just mixing the two. Because
7 is next week. 7 is
so
next
6
week.
is when you start to see the whole spy escapades and the weird crap start occurring. Because that's what I said. Plot armor and other garbage. You start embracing the Michael Bay-ness of the film mixed with some really bad but I do have to say Elena was a good touch in 6.
So yeah, my experience with that movie, I actually had seen it many years ago when it came out in theater. I was like, oh, I've seen the first movie at that point, and I'm like, oh, I missed out like 4 movies in the franchise, but I'm curious to see that one. And many years ago, I liked it before I became a critique. On that rewatch, I was rolling my eye. I was bashing my head on my bed. This was bad. First issue, many major car crash, yet nobody important got injured or died. Falling from a fast.
I mean, if you didn't have that issue with like the safe, like running down the street being dragged by 2 American muscle cars, I don't know how you could have that now.
There is so many bad, weird moments.
Um,
You could just. I think this is one of those films I kind of just blanked out of my mind because it's just they're that bad. It starts, as I said, it starts running together. It really does, because I liked Fast 1. I didn't mind 2 or 3. 3 is actually where the concept it came more because of the drift racing versus actual racing, but that's a separate difference. But there's a whole reason too. That's actually why Fast and Furious is also why the drag TV shows started on TV on direct Discovery. That's actually why the drag shows, which is very funny. But the concept is, yes. But the films are so outlandish that it comes back to form a little later, but
yeah.
6 is the downfall. It's certain are good. And you, by the way, Multi, you said you have never seen, you saw 6, but you never saw 1 or 2?
I
2 or
actually
3?
had seen the first one. I had seen the first one. I believe I also had seen the second one around the same time. But then I haven't seen 3, 4, and 5. I've only seen them when we were covering them, basically. So it's like my first time viewing like 3, 4, and 5. But even 2, I'm not quite sure if I had seen it.
What was your opinion of 3?
That was bad. That was the first time I was like, oh yeah, you guys were right on the first 2.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to be Top Gun and it just failed.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, that's a different opinion I have on it, because it was meant to be about drift racing versus other racing.
Yeah, well, 3 was bad. Well, that was the first movie I considered bad in the franchise, because the first 2 were either good for me or average, but this one was clearly bad.
I mean, I do think 2 is worse, but I do appreciate what Tokyo Drift was attempting. It was just, I thought, executed horribly, horrible script and everything, and just bland as fuck.
Yeah. So my next issue would be falling from a fast-moving car. Whiteout injuries didn't make any sense. Not funny dialogue. Not funny pacing. Useless talk about girls. Nobody can aim. The eye candy stuff wasn't needed, affecting the pacing. Telling instead of showing. Can't aim. Not funny. Plot twist doesn't make any sense since it wasn't properly set up. It's like, oh, it's just there because it's there. Plot twist. Clap now. It also doesn't make sense to trade family for, well, safety. Because it's family.
So Multi, you hate the idea of actually a couple of, not just, you call them eye candy versus actually developed female characters that aren't awful?
So far I'm mentioning like issues I got. So yeah, so far I only had issues so far.
So okay, what is your opinion of Letty and Elena?
I will be honest, I don't know which one is which. Maybe if
Letty is Michelle Rodriguez. She is Dom's former girlfriend, who we previously thought was dead. But it turns out she's back, only she doesn't have the memories. But she flies through the air after crashing a tank, and Dom crashes his car and flies through the air. And then they reunite, if you remember.
She loses
what's
her
your opinion
memory.
on her? Is she a real character?
She doesn't feel like a real character. She feels like a plot device, something of some
not a character
extent. Yeah, she's
not in the original. She's not a.
Well, apparently she found out that her character wasn't dead while watching 5 in the actual theater. She didn't know until she saw like that special, like, oh, it turns out that she's been spotted alive. So I don't know. I'm not sure that she was thought of as like a real character or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And since guys brought that up, and I thought again about the character, like I gotta add this as an issue. She's not an actual character, and that's another issue I didn't really thought as I was watching, but as we are
Not in this
talking,
one.
I edited.
It's
So-
not in this one. The reason why I say I do have to give them credit because you talk about female roles. You say eye candy. I don't take offense to it as much as some of the women in this series, they're not girl bosses either. They each have a role they play.
Yeah, plot device roles.
Some are plot devices. Some are. There is arguably one girl boss in the series. But Letty has been in there since the beginning.
Yeah. But again, like, if that would be a man, I would probably bash it again. Oh, I can do. It's like Liam's M-Sword in freaking 2016. I was like, bruh, it wasn't needed. It was a trash character there for comic relief. And all of these eye candy scenes feel like Liam's M-Sword. Like the exact same
Oh,
shit.
come on. Gina Carano wasn't just eye candy. She kicked some ass. That's a personality.
You know what?
Like,
She did that too.
I-
I'm pretty sure she.
I don't remember even her role in the movie. I know the actress, she was in Mendo, but no, I can't remember what she brought to the story, to be honest. So maybe that's another issue to be added to the list. So yeah, poor characterization, I guess.
Okay.
The attempt of escape made by the villain wasn't needed. It felt there only to make the movie longer. That's a pacing issue for me. So I was like, yeah, bro, like, what's the point of that big chase with the plane? That was BS. That was trash. Anyhow, these are my issues. But
Never
again,
let
I
him-
will repeat myself with the likes. I thought that was a dumb movie where like action is going on, so you're never bored with it. The music, I liked it. The action, I liked it. Like, this is the only thing at that point I look forward when I see Fast and Furious movie. I just want to be like entertained. Um, so yeah, the fight in the jail was really entertaining, and again, the action is the standout thing I like. At least this aspect and that department is decent. I don't have much more to say. I'm wondering if any of you would like to add more to this masterpiece that everyone disliked.
R.I.P. to some of the
Oh,
cast
Walker.
for a while,
Yeah.
but they'll be back.
Yeah. So I would give this movie a 1.5 out of 10. That was like terrible. That was like awful. That was like,
You thought this film was a 1.5?
yeah. This is how much issues.
Wow. So so you gave the last one an 8 and this one
No, I gave a 7.
Sorry, you're right. 7. You gave 2 an 8, but you're giving this a 1.
Well,
Wow,
two I
man.
gave either a 7.5 or a 7. The first one I gave like
But this one is a
8.5.
1.5.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there were a lot of people missing with their gunshots. Like, I know that is a big thing for you, but wow, that is a big drop off. I did not anticipate this. It was a little shocking.
Yeah,
to
this
me.
is
Well,
this is weird.
guys earned me like half of my part was like ranting and complaining about what was going on. I had so many issues with that one. Like, again,
Well, what about Ludacris now? Like, come on, he's coming into his own. At the barbecue, he had his own brand of cognac in front of him. Like, come on, man.
at least
No.
I was
Yeah, I don't
entertaining. I
really-
wasn't bored with the movie, but that's a terrible movie. That's one of the worst movie we covered.
Wow.
What about
So you put it
Tyrese?
on Ghostbusters
Roman, he's
level.
becoming
Wow.
more of a joke now. You gotta love the fact that they're turning Tyrese into a joke. No,
I don't give a crap.
nothing about Gal Gadot. I
This
mean,
is
She
awesome.
was there. She was. Looking
She's gone
pretty.
now.
I think Gal Gadot, like, despite her
Okay,
age,
well, no,
is
Gal
pretty
Gadot
pretty.
was just fucking nothing right as always.
But she's not a great actress. That's the thing. Like, she's just there because she looks.
No, she's a
pretty.
terrible actress. All right, get it right.
Oh,
I wouldn't say she's terrible. She's better.
you know
than
what?
Edward Turner.
I can understand why you're not a Snyder bro. You probably didn't even like her as Wonder Woman.
I liked
She
her as
was
Wonder Woman.
competent in the,
The first
first
one was
film as
good.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and
the first one was good. The second one, let's
As
not talk
Wonder-
about
Yeah,
it.
the first one was solid, yeah, and she wasn't like that
There
good
was
in it or
only
anything.
one
It's
Wonder
just,
Woman.
Yeah, they
To be
just
honest, I
told
never
her to
saw
basically
Justice League, so.
just sit back and just let the film float, whatever. So she was okay in that, but everything else is trash.
Well, hey, Timmy, what would you give it out of 10 if you're just going 6? So, again, it's the one with the driving a tank out of a moving car based off of a harpoon.
Four
The
based
entire
on-
reunition.
There's a
4
plane at
based
the
on
end.
And then the,
entertainment.
plane at the end.
4 based on entertainment only.
Gotcha. That sounds more reasonable than a 1.5, but fair enough. I gotcha. Cole, what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Like, sure, it has stupid stuff from start to finish.
It's entertaining, at least.
But, yeah,
That's where I'm going to. I think I'd also go with 5.
I mean, every Fast and
it is
Furious
definitely a
film in
step
this
down.
franchise, has stupid stuff from start
Yeah.
to finish. At least this stupid stuff
And I think they keep
embraces
stepping down
itself
from
and
here.
is entertaining, and also finds a good mix of still being a bit grounded. Unlike 9 and 10, where then
I'm really curious to see where Multi goes with the. Sorry for speaking over you, man. I am really curious to see where Multi goes with the other
Oh no,
3.
he's
Well,
gonna
I guess
hate
we got
9
more
and
than
10.
that, don't we?
If he doesn't hate 9 and 10, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
No.
But where do you go? He's already gone 1.5.
That's just torture at that
Is he
point.
going to go 0.5? Are we going back to the negatives?
Maybe we will go back to the negative. But that's funny because this one, it didn't go in the negative, but it was still very bad.
Yeah. I think I'd also go 5. It's not special, but I don't know. It seems like they kind of know the tone that they want. But come on, the car harpoon guns, driving a tank out of it, like midair, reuniting with your
Come
loved one.
on.
I don't know. Like all of this doesn't quite
Come
work.
on, Ludacris's character.
But it gets
with-
way more ludicrous in the future.
Look, not Ludacris and the other. What is it? The 2 black drivers, Ludacris and the other one,
Tyrese, Roman.
Roman. Yes. Then no love for them. The outlandish.
I think they're funny. I think this is when they start making Roman like just over the top stupid. I guess they kind of did in the last one where he goes into the police station and the badge clearly says Caucasian. But yeah, I mean, still. Yeah, from this point he stops being competent, so that's fun.
I cannot wait for
yeah,
7. 7 will be masterclass. Like it will be like the masterpiece we are all looking forward to cover.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's the
Yeah.
one that made me tap
So-
out. So from here on, it is unknown to me.
Mhm.
That's encouraging.
7.
Hell yeah,
7 and the
want
rest of
those.
ones from there. God, they were so bad that it made Paul Walker want to exit life. So
Wow.
Okay, that's just cruel. That is not true at all.
Next topic that is actually the last one Dre has seen. We will talk about Ash versus Evil Dead Season 2. And before we talk about it, because D-Lord wasn't with us last week, I will ask you, D-Lord, what did you think of Season 1?
Of which one?
Ash versus Evil Dead.
Actually, I liked it. It's that, but then again, I realize it's a campy series, but I liked it. It's some of the other characters begin to fall off later on, but I actually enjoyed Season 1.
I agree with you. Well said. Do you want to add more about Season 1, or we can dive deep into Season 2?
You're going over all of them?
So yeah, right now we will talk about Season 2 today, and next week we will talk about Season 3.
So, Ash versus Evil Dead was the series that was, if you are curious, it was done as the massive homage to whatever. You introduce Pablo, you have other people who occasionally, because yes, the Necronomicon can never be killed, ever. You also have the great. I don't forget which was season 1 had Lucy Lawless in it.
Yeah.
She comes back, or she's one of the villains.
Yeah.
She's like, as I said, some of it's more or less the. Season 2 is a little weird for me. Like, this is a problem, but on season 1, it was just like if you took Evil Dead, turned it into a TV show, and let Bruce Campbell be Bruce Campbell, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Some entertainment. And it's weird how the show. But the thing is, it was so niche because I'm trying to look up ratings to see what the show got. And I guess it was because it was where it aired.
Yeah, stars.
And we're all talking like the one had 0.4.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was on stars, but that's strange. But yeah, like season 2's 0.2. But then again, Stars is a weird one. Stars gets good shows. Like, I'm pretty sure Cole hated Westworld.
We will actually
Westworld.
cover that eventually.
You need to watch it. It's in the series. If you
Right,
let
I've
the
seen the. Oh, sorry, go.
What you've seen the first? You've
Oh
seen
no, I was
at
just
least-
saying. I was just saying. Yeah, I saw the first season, and then I kind of dropped off after that. It was good. I just didn't get the extreme hype with it. But then I, heard
it's
like
weird.
after season 1, it just
That's why
went
I
weird.
compare Ash versus Evil Dead. It is a very niche series that is good because you don't know. Westworld's a different experience. I actually enjoyed that series. You all knew where it was going to go, but a different take on it because you all knew it was going to be Future World. But Stars,
Well. Remember, no spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Well, I've seen a few episodes. I've seen maybe like 4 episodes. That when we will cover that, we will separate the show. in
most
different
people
parts.
already know of what knows.
I don't.
The thing is, when I compare it to Future World, it's the really old second film that everyone forgets exists.
Yeah.
But it's an adaptation of that. But that's why I say Ash vs. Evil Dead season 1, it has that campiness, kind of like if you liked Preacher or you like that stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's why I liked it so much the first season, but season 2 was such a drop off. Like, I was shocked how bad this was. But yeah, what did you think of season 2?
The thing about season 2 is weird. The deconstruction of Pablo. That's the first part. The decay of some of the characters. I know it's part of a story, but it's one of the things of it's just strange, right?
I agree.
It's like it gets weird because that's why I say season 2, then of course, I like to discuss season 3 till whenever. But it's a good series. That's really good. Like, this is why when Stars does a series that's good, it will have some weird marks because the character development goes awry. That's why, you need to watch all the Spartacus series.
Okay. Eventually, one day, there's so many projects,
I am also voting for Spartacus. It's a great series. But yeah, I basically just wanted to say I am Spartacus.
There's 3 different ones, but yes.
Yeah. But I agree with you. And I think Stars had a lot to do with that. So I'd be interested to hear Multi's kind of take on it because it sounds like you really disliked this. So were you just in a bad mood over this holiday season? You're giving out 1.5s and I don't know. I'm interested to hear your critiques because, well, I think there was a drop off. I think there's reasons, and I'd like to kind of go into some of these things. But
Yeah.
why don't you go, Multi?
Okay. So usually, because now Cole is there, we will have a very in-depth discussion about it, and this will be probably a very long and interesting topic. So I always start off when we cover TV shows with my issues and some of the likes I had throughout the season. So my issues. Issue number one: humor didn't land as much as season one. I feel like they did so many poop jokes and like really bad taste jokes that just didn't work, didn't land for me. I was like,
You're not wrong, and there's kind of a reason for that.
yeah,
It's Bruce Campbell.
I don't care. It was
Well,
landing for me before, but
And
here
you're
I
not
was
wrong.
just
Like that hasn't been in the Evil Dead franchise before. Like they were gory as hell, and there was buckets of blood, but there wasn't necessarily crude things. Where like episode
No.
2 in the
Yeah.
morgue.
No cringe. There was
it
never
feels
cringe.
So
like-
no,
in
there's
Ash
cringe.
versus-
There's cringe,
was
but it was
never
always
cringe.
gore and it was blood, but it was never like fecal matter, for instance.
Yeah.
So apparently the showrunner had one idea, and he kept trying to put things in there. I believe he wrote episode 2, the morgue, the one that has that, but he was pushing for more of that. And apparently he even had a different ending, and they completely reshot it. They were going to make now I can't remember her name. Is it Kelly as Ash's daughter as like the major ending? And they're like, no, this doesn't work. We can't use any of this. So they actually reshot the entire ending.
wow.
So it looks a little bit different, but it was going to be today's Ash meeting 1980s Ash in the cabin, and it was going to be similar but different. And they really fought with them, and they ended up firing the showrunner like right at the end. So,
wow.
you're
Sounds
not
like
wrong
train
about the
wreck.
tone being different. Yeah,
Sounds like a train wreck, but you see, like I'm open minded, right? Like if I think you're funny, but here I was just no, it just doesn't work. Next issue would be more plot armor shenanigans, but like it's almost like every single encounter this season has like plot armor issues, and then season one, not every single fight or not every single action piece involved so much like plot armor. Yes, there was plot armor, of course, but this season it felt like so much worse, and maybe it has something to do with like how the overall season feels so much of a downgrade from season one. But yeah, plot armor is just crazy. Next up would be the season should have ended the story. So what I mean by there is season 2 feels like, okay, you gave growth to your character, your story is over. It just feels forced that they wanted to build a third season on top of that, because that season was already very janky, and like just setting up the mother of the evil being back as a villain in the third season just feels like, nah, it ruins the season. It could have been ended there, ended here, just finish it. Individual episodes are much weaker than season one. I look at my notes. I don't think there's a single 10 out of 10. Yeah, there's not a single 10 out of 10. So every episode I had at least one issue, sometimes much more than this, but that's all I felt toward this season. It's just like it was a slug to get through season 2. Now I will ask the panel. What do you think, Gray, is my top 3 episode and worst 3 episode this season? So, Gray, Cole, D-Lord, like, I will let you guess.
guessing
Yeah.
the morgue would be your least favorite. Number 2, I'm guessing, was not your favorite. I'm trying to remember what happened in each one of these. For some reason, I'm thinking episode 1 would probably be one of your favorites.
So summarize, like, top 3, worst 3.
All right, I'm gonna go. 1, 8, and 9 were your favorites, and I'm gonna guess 2, 10, and 5 were your least favorites. No particular
I'll
reason, just going
say-
off titles alone.
Okay.
One,
Cool.
yeah, I'll say 1, 3, and 8 were your favorite, and I'll say your least favorites were 2, 6, and 10. You know, I also think 4 might be there, but whatever.
Yeah. And D-Lord, do you have any guess for what would be my top 3 and worst 3?
It's a little cloudy right now. No.
Yeah, it might have been a minute if he's seen it. I'm sure he remembers the overall things, but like each individual episode.
Okay.
So what were your top ones?
So, I was thinking again about 2, and I thought I was very generous because it was still early in the season. But thinking back and looking back, this one was getting slightly lower, but it's not in my worst 3. So I will start with my worst 3. So I'm looking at my notes right now to make sure I don't mess up there. Okay, so the worst one for me was episode number 9 with a 6 out of 10. So my issues were, and I will repeat a lot, that not funny, not funny, not funny, plot armor with a 6 out of 10. It's followed by episode 3 with a 6.5 out of 10. Humor didn't land. Not funny. Plot armor on Ash. The tone was bad when the father died. Like they tried to be funny and sad at the same time. I'm like, bruh, it just doesn't work. Don't do this crap. And I got 2.7, but I'd say the worst of the 2.7 are is episode 1, because I had barely likes and I was already sour. I was like, oh, this is a rough start. I'm coming from a TV show I tend to give a lot of 10s to a 7 this time around. So episode 1 was a 7 out of 10. First issue, not funny, lightning, plot armor. So yeah, 7 out of 10.
Sorry, can you hear that?
No.
No.
Oh, really? You can't hear any background noise?
No, man. You sound good.
You sound
Okay, because
perfect.
it is fucking raining like crazy. It is so loud.
Oh, now I can
that
hear a
you
little bit of
said
it.
over
Yeah,
here,
like I swear it rained after you said that somehow.
Yeah, it's if my power goes out, this is why, because it's like raining, like there's gonna be a fucking flood and like a tsunami. Goddamn.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Okay,
is
we
what
will be
happens
able
when
to
you
pinpoint
fucking
your
live in a
location.
rainforest. But anyway, okay.
And I will add
The Amazon, I'm thinking.
I will add the honorable mention with episode 2. So, like, when I was viewing it, but thinking again, it got worse. But when I was viewing it for the first time, I actually gave it 9.5, because my only 2 issues were plot convenience, leaving the key inside the car, and the other issue was the humor. But then I'm thinking again, I'm like, oh nah, it got worse. So this episode, after thinking again about it, I think it would drop to like a 7.5 out of 10. So it's still higher than most worst, but it's not in the top ones. So the top 3 is where things are getting interesting, because there's a bunch of 9.7. Episode 10 was the 9.7 and my favorite, and this is where I thought the show should have ended. My only issue was not funny. So there's a point I was like, yeah, it's not funny. Outside of that, this episode is a 9.7 out of 10. It's followed by episode 7, which is another 9.7 out of 10, with the only issue being lightning was bad. The third favorite was episode 4, and in my notes it was marked down as best episode so far, so I guess maybe 4 would rise up a bit higher, but that was a 9.7 out of 10, with the only issue being not funny. So I thought like it was entertaining. Like it keeps something good the show had for first season. I thought the pacing overall of the season was good because it goes fast. It's like a 5 hour ish TV show season, and it's fast and it's perfect for what they try to do and what they want to do. And I like the cast. They are very likable. They are entertaining to watch. And the villain I thought was interesting. It wasn't like peak villain, but it was cool. It was good enough for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm entertained. I like watching that villain doing stuff and scheming around. That was really entertaining. I like that aspect. And I'd say this villain felt more interesting than season one, because season one had that lack of like villainous presence. It's more like freak of the week or like the quest than having like a big bad. And here I like the fact that they added a big bad. So this season is a massive drop off, but I enjoyed the experience and it was decent. So with that being said, I will let Cole talk. What did you
Wow,
think of?
so you really didn't like this
season
season that much?
No, like I thought season one was a
Wow.
masterpiece. I stand by it, but season two, no.
Wow. Okay.
It doesn't pass.
I strongly disagree, but okay. Wow. I mean, remember, Gray, he didn't like any of the 3 original films, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's what I was asking him last time, and he was saying like, no, they were okay. Like, I don't know. I wanted to know, but I wish I was talking
I
about
hated
it.
the movies. I hated the movies. The
only
only movie I liked was the
somewhat.
remake.
Yeah, and the only one out of
the
the 3
remake,
he
ugh.
thought was like somewhat like not bad was the third. He thought the first and second were terrible, or no, well, maybe not
Yeah.
terrible, but bad. And it's okay to be wrong, but okay. Anyway,
Yeah, Godfather 3 as well.
I love this season though, and I thought
And-
it did actually a better job than season 1.
And Dre, I will say something. When I mention remake, it's not Rise. It's like the one before Rise. Rise was horrendous.
Yeah, it's just called Evil Dead.
Yeah, and they were going to do more of them. They were going to do that trilogy I mentioned, where then they bring Ash back for the second, and then they team up in the third. But they decided to make this show instead because they, sold the rights or something, or they didn't get them. They didn't get greenlit or something. But anyway, I did think the second season was actually pretty damn great, and I thought it was better than the first. And with getting a bit more, I think, of a budget to work with in season 2 and season 3 compared to season 1. But still fairly small. The way they flesh out Ash, I thought this season was fantastic, and they utilized his comedic self, attitude, and one-liners to the full extent. Thought it has the perfect balance of ridiculous gore and cheesy humor that the older films did too, and is kind of like a great tribute to the original trilogy. The backstory they also gave him added a lot, in my opinion. The action and gore in it was very entertaining. I was a bit disappointed by Kelly's character growth, though. I wish they fleshed her out a bit more, and that's probably my biggest complaint about the season. But I still liked her character. Tone, writing, and pacing in this season I thought was an improvement over the first, and was when they really found their footing and figured out their identity really for this show. Nothing more to really say for me, but yeah, thought this was pretty excellent. I don't know. But my favorite episodes, I guess, would be 6, 8, and 9, and my worst 3, 4, 5, and 7. So.
Okay.
What?
I will ask Gray the same stuff. Gray.
Yeah.
What did you think of season 2?
So just to kind of recap for Cole, because I don't think we got to talk because we individually talked about it last time. But yeah, I absolutely love the franchise, and I love what each of those films was trying to do. Like the first one is like as gory and like straightforward as it can be. The tone of the second, it gets so much darker, but they add like a little comedic element. And then, like with Army of Darkness, it is just straight up comedy with like a splash of like the horror in there. I love the tone that they struck in this one. To me, it's in between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2. It is like very intense horror, but they got the comedy like just spot on. I love season 1. I do feel like there is
This
a
is a
bit of a
sketch.
so yeah, I absolutely love what Bruce Campbell is able to do, and I think he just totally nails this character and understands it and really understands the humor. I absolutely love what they were able to do with this one. Season 1 is just like amazing to me. I think they kind of fumble the ending of it a little bit, and then when it gets into season 2, I think again he's got the character, and I think there's elements of it that really shine. To me, it's just like a little bit of a step back, not like Multi. I feel like he trashed it a bit hard, but I do feel like 1 and 3 are a step above it for me. I can understand if you dig this. I think it is kind of it feels like it goes a little gross out humor, which I don't think that was necessarily what it was about. Like they went for gore, like over the top, but there wasn't really any other bodily fluids other than blood. So I don't know. It feels like they changed the tone just a little bit. I think there's still parts that really are awesome in this episode or season. I really like when they reintroduced Ted Raimi. I love him as like the old friend. I think there's parts of like introducing Ball that are kind of cool. I really like him as the doctor in the sanitarium, the delusion one. I kind of like the whole what is it, like Ashy Slashy, the puppet thing. I don't know. There's parts of it that are really cool, and I like Lee Majors as the father. But I like where they were going with season 1, and then I think just the kind of twist with Lucy Lawless. I don't know that I necessarily liked that, but I think they really do get it back on track, and I think you can't get where they're going in season 3 without getting here. So I don't know. It just feels like a little bit of a step down to me, but yeah, I think Multi is a little bit harsh on it. It's kind of hard for me to say like what 3 were the top ones, but I really did like the first episode of it, and I think I liked the ending of it the best. Those were kind of the 2 highlights to me. Other than that, they were kind of like gems throughout this series. I think episode 2 is kind of the weakest for me. But yeah, I really dig this series. Even saying that like this season is a step down, it's still a step above most shows that are out there. I think they really do suffer kind of from what Tiamat was saying, that it was unfortunately on Stars. People just don't really watch Stars. And they've had some really awesome shows. Even ones that Tiamat mentioned, like Spartacus. It's like, it sucks. It was a really good show. It would be awesome if more people were able to, get a chance to actually see it. I don't know. They do kind of suffer of being one of those channels that it is a premium channel, and not that many people watch it.
The other
It was
show
kind
too.
of,
I want to say it was Stars that it used to be. Power.
I can't remember if that one was. Yeah, I think that was Stars.
It's
kind of
was
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Now,
There's a few of them. They were definitely critically acclaimed, but not many of the audience saw them. And I think this kind of
I'm
suffered
not
from
going
that.
to say the end of Power was great, but the main Power series, because they're doing all the spinoffs now. But Power
Really?
was,
They are spin-offs?
yes.
Okay, that's
Did you
weird.
watch Power? Did you watch Power all the seasons?
Yeah, we have seen both seasons.
There's
If
more
the-
seasons than that.
There's more than 2? I didn't know.
Power?
Yeah, Powers.
Power.
Oh, maybe
I think there's
we are
slightly
not
different shows. I think the one that
Yeah.
you're talking about is some superheroes. I think he's talking, it's more
Yeah.
of like, not Wall Street, but like business taking over.
Oh,
type
yeah,
deal.
we are not talking about the same. You're
I
right.
recommend on the list you do watch Power eventually. It's called
Yeah.
Power. But like all series, it eventually suffers from some character development of some kind. Because Gray, did you watch Black Flag?
I didn't, and I haven't seen Powers.
Black
like,
Sails.
unfortunately,
Black Sails.
No, I heard good things about it, but I did not see that one either. It's that same problem. Like they make good shows, but not that many people watch that channel. It was premium, so like are you just gonna have a subscription to Stars now that nobody has cable? Really, it's sad.
It's weird because Power is one of those series that I file Ash versus Evil Dead, but eventually what happens between all the showrunners and such, there's always some weird like character breakdowns. It happened in Power. It happened in Black Flag. Black Flag's premise is it's about pirates and it's a prequel to Treasure Island.
Okay.
That's why I said I should recommend. I'll put y'all
Yeah.
to put it. They're relatively short. Power is a longer. It's like 5 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
Then there's spinoffs to it, like Ghost, and they're going into the other stories. The showrunner's very interesting. But that's why I said Ash versus Evil Dead, right? It was done there. People didn't really know about it. It's like Westworld. People didn't realize Westworld was coming back because who watches Stars?
Yeah.
And they
Not that many
waited 2
people.
years. And that's why the last season of Westworld barely gets. It's not shit upon, but it's considered not good. And it's literally the ratings. People who watched, like towards the end of Westworld, they were below a 1.
Wow.
Basically because,
Nobody was
again,
paying
it's on
into-
Stars.
Yeah.
No one knew.
Yeah. So
Yeah, man, I thought it was HBO. I think that's not quite the case with Westworld because it was HBO.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Westworld
HBO
was
because I got to
HBO,
watch that and
but
I didn't have it.
Westworld,
but
yeah, may have been
I know what
HBO.
you're saying, and I agree with the Stars thing. Like, not that many people watched it, and that was one issue. with
HBO
it. And
series are weird too because we're not talking like he's never seen. Have you ever seen Rome, Gray?
I haven't, man. I've been wanting to, but I have not. I saw the predecessor, but not Rome.
Rome was one of the most expensive series ever done on TV, and HBO said they would never do it again, but then they did Game of Thrones. No, actually
Rome's
true.
like the one where it's like with kind of like the Gladiator type series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rome was
Okay, well, I've seen-
it's kind of loosely based on it because HBO did some more series people aren't familiar with, like Oz. But when you have a lot of these shows, they're iconic, right?
Yeah.
They have iconic actors, but you don't ever see them. Like Oz had the Allstate insurance guy, and the guy
Yeah.
who always plays a villain.
Well, Oz had like a whole bunch of people in it. That was just kind of the springboard for all of them. But like, yeah,
God, the
I've seen
operators-
snippets.
The guy from Matrix was in that one.
To go back to
Yeah.
Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, do you want to add more, Gray?
I think it's a shame that more people didn't get to see it. I think they would have gotten an even bigger budget, and they would have known whether or not they were coming back. It's kind of awesome what they end up doing in 3, but they were still in that kind of limbo that everyone's in TV, where it's like, do we get another season? Do we wrap everything up? So I don't know, and it's kind of based on the ratings and everything. And as Tiamat said, like the ratings on this were lower than the ratings for season 1. Generally, when you look at like the ratings online, 2 kind of gets lower ratings, and it could be that whole like showrunner fighting with the producers type of deal. And the producers, in all due fairness, they have been with the Evil Dead franchise like since the beginning. They do know the direction of it, so perhaps they were right. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I really like most of what is put on the screen, and there's just so many gems like in this season. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that we get to see this version of Ash Williams, and we get to further his backstory. We get to meet his father. There's certain things that I don't know, they do with like the time travel and stuff. I wish could be done a little bit better, but I like a lot of what's in here. It's an overall decent season for me in a great series.
Well, I think it's the right time to share our score out of 10. When it comes to me, I will give this season a 6.5 out of 10. So this means a bit below average. So I'd say maybe it's decent more than like mediocre because mediocre is 6. So I'd say it's decent. It's not average. It's below average. But yeah, what about you, Cole?
I'll give this like an 8.5. I like the season.
And what about you, D-Lord?
I'd probably say the second. On average, I put it about 7.5 if you take the whole thing. There were just some episodes that didn't jive with me.
I feel you. What about you, Dre? What would be your grade out of 10?
You know, I agree with Cole. I think I'd go 8.5. It just, that first season to me hit a little bit harder, so I definitely gave that more. But, this is an above average season of an amazing episode, or sorry, an amazing series. There's a few episodes that, like Tiamat was saying, they kind of dropped the ball in a little bit for me. But that being said, it's still an above average series. So, yeah, I think I'll go 8.5. And this, to me, is the lowest of the series. Still a great series.
Yeah. So just double checking with you, you haven't seen the rest of the topics, did you?
Sadly, I haven't. I was supposed to see one of them today, and I was looking forward to seeing one of them tonight, and then I realized I lost today, and today was the day of the podcast. So I somehow screwed this all up. But I will see both of them, unfortunately, by the next time we speak, I'm sure. Well, by the next podcast. But sadly, I didn't see Halloween. I don't know how I didn't. I'm actually looking forward to see how it ends, but apparently I did not.
It's so bad, bro. Like, it's a weird.
I don't know, man. It could be great. Maybe they just had a little slip up in the middle, but it's going to be amazing.
I
Who
mean,
knows?
hey, Jamie Lee Curtis called it a masterpiece, so it has to be true, right?
Okay. Hey, I'm looking forward to that.
Wow.
She at least said the truth on Resurrection, man. She said it was a paycheck, so
Hell yeah.
I hope she's right. Although she has gotten kind of crazy in the last few years.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
I hope
She was probably saying a lot of shit she didn't agree with just so she could win the Oscar in the same year. But
Yeah. That's my guess. Anyhow,
Well, yeah.
thank you, Gray. You are amazing. As usual, you watch a lot of stuff and like
Not enough. I will watch more. I can watch better. I will watch faster.
You
in
gotta
the future.
be.
it's fine. Like right now, we got Cole. Like 4 out of 7 in this case today. It's wonderful, man.
Well,
fuck, can you
appreciate
hear
the
that?
encouragement, but
God damn.
y'all are better than me. Well, I should probably take off before the power takes off on Cole, so that you guys can get through this.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I have
care.
to dip out
God.
too. I have a headache that's suddenly trying to take over.
Okay,
Fill the
before you
background.
leave,
Oh, no.
Please
D-Lord,
just don't take painkillers or anything.
before you leave,
I
D-Lord,
don't.
Yeah, be careful.
have a good one, Gray.
All right, see you again.
Uh,
Me too.
Summarize before you leave, D-Lord. Summarize your thought on like Dark Matter season 1 and 2, and maybe Halloween ends. Like speed run through these 3 topics, if you don't mind.
Yeah, by the way, I only usually take a leave so I get migraines. It's just been one of those things. If it catches up, I just have to take a break. But no, I don't take painkillers. And if you count taking a leave as painkillers, that doesn't. I'm just going to rest. It's not like it's a bright light thing that doesn't want to agree with me.
Yeah.
Dark Matter is a weird series I like. They tried to develop a plot without giving it away.
Yeah.
And it's one of those weird series. It probably wasn't for everybody, but it wasn't executed horribly, I should say.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of a slow burn series on both seasons.
Yeah.
But it wasn't entirely unentertaining, though. So
Yeah.
the Halloween Ends it's just weird.
Always weird.
It's just eventually you you're either so it's kind of like, is the man a monster, or is the man just a man? The the issue with like Halloween is they always try to merge this line of, is Michael Myers a man, or is he a, a monster, right?
Yeah.
Does the belief of Michael Myers keep him alive? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I guess he's a horror villain trope. It wasn't as well executed as it should have been. You could have done it a lot better.
I agree.
But that's pretty much like the premise. Like, he either is a... I mean, they say, oh, he has supernatural endurance, and the belief in him keeps him alive, kind of thing, some points. But it's just weird like that. It's a strange film to me. It wasn't really good either, but it wasn't really awful. So I give it like a 5 out of a 10. But it's something that... But Halloween's one of those films that's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's like, you can only rehash this origin story so much, or this story so much, and take it. I mean, you have to eventually explain it.
That's true.
But, yeah, as I say, I will take my leave, but
Thank
you
you for
understand
sharing.
that. That's why
Yeah.
I say it. The film suffers from but Halloween eventually suffers from its own creation.
True.
Because that's why, like, does Michael Myers... Because I asked you two in your opinion before I go. How do you like the characterization of Michael Myers? Like, is he more just a psychotic killer, or is he a mythological monster?
He is a monster, and that's the only way we can accept that, because one criticism is he doesn't grow, he's just there to slash people, and that's it. Like, even when they try to humanize him more, it just doesn't work. It's not something you can humanize. You just can't.
See, I'll say they don't try to humanize him. But you see what I said, they start to go into the supernatural elements.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Anyhow, I will let you leave and rest. Thank you a lot, D-Lord. You are amazing. Have a great day, and we will talk tomorrow with the window to our mind.
Yes, indeed. Catch you later.
Yep. Anyhow, this movie was terrible. What did you think of it, Cole? I will let you start. Cole, you there?
Oh, for Halloween Ends?
Yeah, Halloween
Can you
Ends.
not hear me?
Now I can. There's maybe a
Okay,
delay,
so there might be a
now I
lag
can.
on my side because of that. There might be a delay. My bad. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Halloween Ends, unlike Halloween Kills, which was just a mess with how it was made, did at least have some potential. They tried to do something very out of the box with it, even if it was super out of the box to the extent of being like, what the fuck? And it could have worked, though. It could have worked, but just like Kills, it was executed horrendously. So much so that I think it's even worse than Kills. This was an absolute fucking disaster, and this director has no understanding of filming scenes properly with the tone between characters at all. There are only like 2 things I liked about this, all right, and that's the whole opening, the whole like first 8 or so minutes. I liked that whole opening and with that character, and then some of the things similar to the original Halloween when they tried doing stuff to give you like that holiday nostalgia feel with it. I kind of like that, even if the scenes weren't really like done well. That's it though, and this film gets memed on a lot now because Jamie Lee Curtis called it a masterpiece before it released. Yeah, but everything else about this is fucking trash. Every
You did kind of at Gym.
performance in this sucks for the most part. Oh, can you hear me now?
Did kind of at Gym.
Okay. Can you? God damn, this is so loud. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry. Well,
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis called it a fucking masterpiece before it released, so everybody memes on it now. But anyway, everything else about this is fucking trash, and every performance in it sucks for the most part. I have no clue why they introduce a character like this and in this prominent of a role in the fucking third out of a trilogy. It was so retarded. I've never seen anything like this in my life where they just do that randomly. And not only that, but he was just so fucking bad, the actor in it. Now, I get what they were going for with him. I get what they were going for with the film and the story. I get it. It could have worked well. But just like the rest of the film, the execution just sucked in every area possible. The way it's filmed is as terrible as Killed, with the awful close-up shots, camera movement, editing, cinematography, and so on. The supporting characters in this are as bad as the fucking supporting characters from Willy's Wonderland in the fucking FNAF movie. This new shit they try introducing into this with Michael Myers is dumb as fuck, like when they touch him and shit. The whole climax, it was laughable. The dude saying he saw fucking evil because he looked in his fucking eyes from the police car years ago. Stupid as fuck. The score was half decent, but not anything good in this one, unlike the last two. And it's weird how the opening credits are kind of like the same color as the one from Halloween 3, which they did for the first and second film as well with the new ones too, when it had nothing to do with Michael Myers, the old third one. But I mean, I guess that's a metaphor for how this also has basically nothing to do with Michael Myers or Halloween either. This is just its own, like, what the fuck movie. Has nothing to do with, like, anything anymore. Holy fuck. But anyway, there's so much more I could say, but I don't want to bother even. Me and Joker talked about this for, like, hours on his film channel, Frightful Film Fiends. So if you want to, watch that, anybody watching, then go ahead. I don't really want to, like, fucking talk about this anymore. This film gives me STDs.
So this movie is terrible. First issue, dialogue feels off. The kid didn't sound like a kid. The dialogue was bad. Too many characters, only to get slashed. Pacing, grocery store. Plot convenience, bumping into the mother in the bar. The bullies are one-dimensional characters that go under my skin. Plot convenience, falling near the camp. Parents are one-dimensional. Most people in town are way too cartoonish. Character doing dumb shit. He found a corpse, yet he crawled in a tunnel he doesn't know about, instead of calling the cops. Bad lighting! Tunnels. Yeah, that was terrible. Terrible. Now, I gotta say, I enjoyed the new, like, slash anti-hero slash villain we get. And he was decent. I thought he was the best part of this movie, and his love and relationship with the other girl was enjoyable, and the grandma being turned into a villain at some extent, and the way they framed stuff was entertaining. I like that aspect a lot. But that's it. This movie is just very bad. The music was decent. The action was entertaining. I gotta say, the action is entertaining. It's not a good movie, but when there's something on your screen, you don't get bored. That's all I gotta say. The villain self-delete was well written. I liked it. And yeah, I don't have much more to say, to be honest. I don't have much more to say. And this movie is a 3 out of 10 for me. What about you? Cole, what would be your score out of 10?
2 out of 10.
We are close. We are very similar on that. And yeah,
What did you give it?
three, a 3 out
Yeah,
of
that's way
10.
too generous.
Keep in mind, my
Okay,
score
anyway,
is
so I
worse
guess we
than
do
yours.
Dark Matter now.
Yeah, Dark Matter season
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start on that one.
Okay, so
Season 2, not 3. Sorry
yeah, I
about
thought
that.
because I'll be pretty quick on this. I thought the character story and writing was a big improvement, and they went in the direction with this show after season one that I was hoping they would. I really enjoyed just the world in season two and certain factions in this time. And the action's also a lot better, and the conflicts aren't the same fucking one note things for the most part, at least compared to season one, where it's just the conflicts with characters and it just end up with the same fucking things leading to it. God, like, oh, the ship needs a repair, like fucking hell. But my biggest issues with this season though is there are a couple of side characters that were worse in my opinion. I'm not a fan of how they killed off one, as I think they still had a lot they could have done with his character. And the ending was disappointing to me and kind of a letdown. But overall, I think it was a great season. And my top three episodes would be 2, 5, and 9, with my bottom three being 3, 6, and 10. And I guess for my predictions for yours, it would be 2, 11, and 12 for your top three, and bottom three, 3, 4, and 6, or with an honorable mention being for 7 as well, I guess.
Very nice. I like your guess. So just like what you said, um, this season was a massive improvement for me, by a lot. So my top 3 episode, I am double checking. I'm looking at the grades. Um, so here we are with the first episode in my top 3 would be episode 9 with a 10 out of 10. I liked it so much. Followed by episode 4, another 10 out of 10. And episode 2, another 10 out of 10. And I will add a honorable mention that almost made to the cut because this is the fourth 10 out of 10 this season. Episode 1. I watched back to back episode 1 and 2, and I was excited. I was like, wow, this season is what I wanted the show to be. And they kind of solved one of the major issue with season 1, which is the character count. Now, there's still a character count issue, and I will get into it soon, but they can of course correct it where the focus is better because there's less characters. Now, my worst 3 episode, this is where it gets challenging because I see a lot of very similar score on most of the episode. So I'm looking at my notes. So right now what I see is episode 10 and episode 13 both sitting at 8.5 out of 10. Episode 13, the villain, basically the cop villain, because he was a villain. He clearly didn't nail the part of his bargain earlier in the season. So because of that, he is a villain. So this cop villain was one-dimensional. He only has one floor. He's like, you're bad, I'm good. And that's it. Oh, you're bad, why should I listen to you? Oh, you're bad, maybe you lie. Or you're bad, like I will make you feel justice. It's like, can I have something else from you, character, or this is what you are? You are just justice. It's sad. It's a waste. Um, episode 10 with a 8.5 out of 10. My first issue with this one, uh, secret being lazy plot devices. Next up would be the new member of the crew is still not needed. She feels like she is only there to fill a blank spot. She doesn't feel important. She didn't get any growth. So yeah, she's a really weak character. And um, my third worst with Episode 5, a 9.5 out of 10. First issue, the girl that was in prison wasn't needed, yet she is there after wasting 4 episodes without growth. Cannot aim. So again, in the 3 worst episodes, my biggest issue is this new character they gave us that wasn't needed at all in the season. Okay, she's the love interest to the main character, but making you a love interest doesn't make you a good character. If you don't get growth, if you're just there to fill a space, you are not a good character. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Like, fill a role, do something. I hope she gets better in season 3. I really hope so. Because in season 2 so far, she was really weak. Anyhow, the entire season, as I said, major improvement. I really liked it. Issue number 1, weak characterization of the cop that's a villain. Like Trout is run in the show so far. This guy does great job. He is a good actor. He is interesting, but my issue is the writing. The writing is crap. It's not a good villain with layers or depth. He's just there to be an obstacle and just there to showcase, oh, the cops are still after the main characters. Next up would be, you guessed it if you read my mind, the new crew member wasn't needed, and she didn't get any growth, and she didn't improve as a character, and she didn't bring anything to the story. Write her off. The show gets better because that character no longer eats screen time that other character could use, and that other character do need, because they all get growth. You all get deeper character and better characterization with everyone. She's just that character hanging there, and you're like, yeah, that's not a good character. Anyhow, this season, I said it, it's an improvement. The characterization is really the highlight. I'm invested. I like the plot. I like the action. And it's funny how, at first glance, episode 4 was just a filler where they showcase that alternate reality, but then it becomes very important by the end of the season when they want to stop this from happening, and they are really the heroes that try their best to solve stuff, even if everyone sees them as the outlaws. It's wonderful because at first glance, again, episode 4 was a filler, but when you really look back and think again, you're like, no, actually, that's not a filler. That other crew could have been our crew. And that war going on with the other crew is going to happen with season 3. I like this so much. I'm invested. I'm hooked. This season was a treat. I felt good. I was like, yeah, season 1 is worth watching because now I got season 2 with Android. I like so much Android. Like everyone in the cast, outside of the 2 exceptions I mentioned already, they did great job. Yashiro is not a emperor, and he is extreme. He is dangerous, and maybe he will still like the device. I like it. And the fact that this guy is also like, he cares about the crew, I like that. He cares about the crew, but he cares about his country, his empire. This is really cool. And this makes him a compelling villain for next season. Because the crew will try to stop him, but how will they? So, yeah, I really had a blast. Dark Matter Season 2, you're great. I don't have much more to say. I said everything. The cop guy, the kid, the teenager, amazing characters. The cop guy got growth because he realized the system is broken. Wow, I like it. And his exchange with the other guy was telling, yeah, I was like you before. And that's true, he was like him before. But then he realized the system is broken. It's not justice to end someone's life. And it's true. So that's why it's wonderful. The kid is so cool. I think she is my favorite character because she is the brain. And she is needed. And she gets stuff. and she is relatable. The same goes for the guy that want to steal stuff with the device instead of like using it for thieves and stuff. The hint at them doing their own justice eventually because the system is rigged is also cool. So yeah, strong season. I will give this second season a 9.5 out of 10. What about you, Cole?
I'll give it an 8. And then I guess we
Well,
have just one last topic.
yeah, The Boy and the Heron. So what did you think of
Right.
that?
I'll be kind of quick on this, I guess. I mean, I guess probably we'll both be kind of quick on this, but I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of, you know, Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki, so yeah, I do have a bit bias here, but yeah, I did enjoy it a lot. It's probably my second favorite animated film of the year. I do under it.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, did
so
I cut
you
off
did
there?
cut
Or?
off. Yeah, you cut off. You said that's your second favorite, so I guess that's your second
Can you hear
favorite
me?
something. Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I, my, yeah, my thing's lagging because of the rain. Sorry, but like your cam's frozen on my side, so yeah. Let me know if I like cut off or something or in chat, but
yeah,
okay, but anyway, yeah, it's my second favorite under you know, Across the Spider-Verse this year. Uh, and yeah, there's a lot I like about it. I mean, not going to say go into too much depth. I think I need like a rewatch when it's out digitally to get some things out of it first. But nonetheless, I like the voice acting in both the original Japanese and um, also the small amount I've seen
your
from the English dub. Especially did an amazing job as per
Japanese
usual. Just
Robo
really transformed.
Robo
Oh,
Robo.
fuck. God damn it! This internet really. Right in the last fucking topic. Okay, but yeah, like the Japanese original voice acting and the small bit I've seen from the English dub, especially Pattinson's voice acting in it. I really dug
Yeah.
the story and messages. I think them changing the movie title from How Do You Live though was stupid. Thought it was great. I wasn't as invested into like the characters or personally resonated with this story as like some of Miyazaki's other films. And that's really my main issue with it. I just didn't personally resonate as much with it compared to his others, but he did make a lot of top ones, so it's kind of hard, but I still thought it was great. And it's, you know, he said this was going to
You
be his
did
last
cut off
film,
about
but
your
you know,
great.
he said that like
You
5 other times, and he's already.
you cut off after you said great.
God damn it! Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
well I
can.
don't know. That's it. Okay, but yeah, I said the music's great, the animation's great, and I said I wasn't as as much as his other films. Most of his other
As
films,
much as his
and
other
that's my main
films.
complaint about
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
overall, I still thought it was great. Yeah, and that's about it. And yeah, he said you know, this would be his last film, but he said it like 5 other times before, and he already announced another new film, so I guess it isn't. You know, that's just what he does. I mean, I'm kind of scared what Studio Ghibli will do when he eventually passes away, but you know, hopefully they don't go to shit. Anyway, what about you?
Okay, so I gotta say, entertainment and enjoyment wise, it was more of a 6 for me. And I will also tell an anecdote here. I did pass out for about like 5 to 15 minutes right in the middle, like right after the guy was on the shoulder and was found by the girl with the boat. And I woke up when he woke up underneath a table. and then they were eating, and then he went outside to take a shit or something. That's when I woke up. So I basically passed out for like maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes, maybe 15. I don't know. I know I haven't lost much of it, but yeah. Okay, so I gotta say my three issue now. Pacing, pacing, plot convenience, the boy finding the right page by accident after the book failed. So these are my three issues. So I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, as I mentioned, uh, but I do value it. I do think it's a decent movie, and my phone fell. And okay, so yeah, I just read your comment in the private chat. I gotta say, the lore was cool. The animation was well made. I was invested with the plot when I was awake. um, the characters are likable, and the family dynamic was enjoyable as well. Um, and the flame mother was cool. The crazy uncle was cool. Really, like, it's a cute movie. Um, it's enjoyable. Another thing, it's not an issue again. It's just me mentioning it. It was with subtitle, so it was really rough and hard for me to watch and sit through something because it had subtitle. I was like, yeah, okay, this is sad. Uh, but yeah, it's still a good movie. I wasn't the biggest fan, but it's a decent movie. Um, I don't have much more to say there. I think this movie deserves a 8 out of 10, and this is my favorite animation movie this year. Favorite. I'd say this is the best we covered, but not my favorite. I think it's my least favorite animation movie we covered, but I think it's a well made movie. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. Now, since Cole has internet issues, um, I will give away a score, which is 8.5 out of 10. So yeah, that's sum up everything. Um, I guess there's a power outage that is perfectly timed as we end the stream. With that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed. Do all of the YouTube stuff, and have a great day and take care.